What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Stargirl video. We are back again with another Stargirl video after last week's action-packed episode with the death of Henry Jr. by the hands of his dad. But this week was a pure feels episode with pretty much no action at all. So before we dive into the video, please do consider dropping a like down below as it does help us out massively, and also watch to the end. And also, if you want more videos, please do consider subscribing with notifications on, as that also will let you know every time we upload. The episode opens with Justin the janitor we have seen all season, who some people thought was Stargirl's father, but in reality is actually Sir Justin, the Shining Knight, who has forgotten who he is, and he tries to go and get a bright white steed, much like the one he actually had in the comics. But the ranch guy's like, bro, can you go away? Like, you're really weird and creeping me out. But Justin is starting to remember just who he actually is. He sees the sort of windmill thing, which I'm guessing that is, and it shines bright, and he remembers touching the cosmic staff, and it's starting to actually jog his memory. He sees S.T.R.I.P.E in his 7 Soldiers of Victory outfit in a vision, knowing that, well, this guy will actually help him remember just who he is. Now, with an episode named Shining Knight, you'd think we would finally have a full flashback history episode, just like we did at the start of the season with the amazing action-packed intro to the show. But we didn't, and it was a bit of a letdown, but I will get into that later in the video. Now, at the end of the episode, we had Sam Curtis, Courtney's dad, reply to Barbara's email, and he's now turned up ready to speak to his daughter. But meanwhile, Barbara is now Team JSA as she realizes just how evil the ISA actually are after the revelation that Brainwave was willing to kill his own son, which he actually did. Now, for now, Henry Jr. does seem full on dead, and I do think he will return just because that would be a really cool moment, but it's looking unlikely at the moment. Pat, seeing sense, wants Barbara and Courtney to actually leave, but Barbara has done a full 180 and wants her daughter to take on the murderous ISA. Courtney has a moment with Pat as Mike comes in and he's like, bro, why are you not keeping me in the loop? And he's pretty much brushed away. And Mike, to me, is such a weird character. He seems to like a total Sopranos wise guy stuck in a kid's body. It's just really, really weird. Courtney confronts her dad and is adamant that, well, he's not actually him, and she's still holding on to the idea that Starman is actually her father. I mean, of course you would want the cool Starman Joel McHale to be your father, but it's not looking like that this is actually the case here. Now, walking into town with him, she looks at a locket which looked faded, and I can see the resemblance to Sam Curtis and Starman. There is a kind of a justification for her thinking that this is actually the case. I do not think that Starman is actually her father, and this is just like the comics where her dad is actually Sam Curtis, a bit of a rubbish criminal. They talk about Christmas and she remembers moments with him, solidifying the painful fact that this douche is actually her father. Now, Justin finally arrives at the pit stop and is absolutely spinning out as he sees Pat, Dr. Midnight and Hourman, but he has visions of them being Dragon King and Dragon King zombies, but he soon realizes who Pat is as Pat also starts to recognize him and realizes just who the janitor actually is. This could have been the setup of an elaborate flashback, which did not actually happen and was a total shame. We got some tiny little bits there, but that's really nothing in an episode which is dedicated to this character. But the action moves on to Icicle and Brainwave, with Brainwave revealing the identity of Stargirl to Icicle, as he is very shocked that this is actually happening because he's a kind of a simp for Barbara and doesn't want Brainwave to do anything to her or the family just yet. A bit harsh as Brainwave actually kills his own kid, so Icicle's plans for a new America can actually happen. Wow. If he wasn't evil enough, That is harsh. Now, the 7 Soldiers of Victory photo is shown to Midnight, Hourman and Pat, with Pat explaining that he actually fought alongside Justin, and Justin says how King Arthur gave him Excalibur on his deathbed, so he's been around for a very long time. He also says that he lost his memory as he went to fight Dragon King solo, but was captured and was turned into what he is now. This explains why he is actually in Blue Valley, as I found it just an absolute coincidence that he was actually there. Now, Pat realises the plan of the ISA is a mass brainwashing, which absolutely makes sense considering what they've seen so far. Courtney has a realization with Sam as he wants to take her locket and, well, sell it to get a new place, and he's revealed to be an absolute total scumbag and not interested in wanting to reconnect with her and just wants to use her as a bank account to have a nice life in LA. Harsh. That is harking back to his time there being a criminal in the comics. This was a really touching scene with some fantastic acting, as she then goes in to see Pat, who says that he will always be there for her and to rant to if she needs to, as essentially he is her real father, just not actually by blood. He then goes to give Sam his just desserts, and, well, he absolutely smacks him right in the gob and serves him right for being an absolute D-bag. Barb then apologises for reaching out to him as Icicle gets even more creepy and goes onto Barbara's computer, looks at her history and sees the newspaper article she was looking at, seeing Starman was killed by Icicle. So I think he was basically trying to find out if she knew about her daughter's superhero alter ego, and this sets it up that she does actually know. Courtney now believes the staff won't actually work for her, as she's getting a bit of a limp staff there, as she is not Starman's daughter, and talks with the rest of the JSA, and they kind of console her and say that we're not actually descendants of the rest of the JSA, but we are the new versions. But Henry King's death now has an assembly, and unfortunately for Courtney, Henry King's father, Brainwave, actually goes into her mind and wigs her out. And I don't know why, but this reminded me of Harry Potter for some reason. And she runs home and she can't actually use the staff until her parents actually stand by her side, and it finally works. And there's just really touching moments this episode as Sir Justin actually says their queen is risen, but Icicle then gives orders at their HQ to destroy Stargirl and her family, even poor old wise game Mike, see? But their plan only has 12 hours left as we move into the finale episodes. Overall, it was a touching episode, but I was hoping for some flashbacks to the Seven Soldiers' days, but I guess we'll get more action next week as we move into Stars and Stripe. It's a 2-parter episode, the finale 2 episodes, and that's a reference to the Stars and Stripe comic as Pat finally joins the fight. Now, the synopsis for next week is thus, and so it begins with the ISA on their trail. Courtney, Pat and the team regroup to figure out their next steps. Meanwhile, Rick makes a breakthrough and the team prepares for a showdown with the ISA. Wilson also actually spoke to TV Line and said there will be an epic battle, and we'll learn more about the plan in the coming episodes. Season 2 is actually all planned out, and Wilson will actually be returning. So we've got 2 new images where we actually see Tigress return, who looks to be facing Barbara, as I guess the whole ISA have been mobilised to take down the pain in the backside, which is the JSA and their families. So overall, pretty interesting next week. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please do drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, as it does help us out massively, like I said, and subscribe with notifications on to never miss a video, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.